I actually wear many hats. So I have academic appointments at a variety of universities. I'm a visiting scholar at Boston College in the Center for Human Rights and International Justice. I teach a course in the Refugee Studies Center at Oxford University. And I've done a lot of work locally with universities, including Tulane University, which I've probably done the most work with. In addition to those sort of academic pursuits, I run a consulting organization, and I work with NGOs all over the world and with universities all over the world. So I like to measure things that are hard to measure. So I would work with community groups to figure out, or work with NGOs to figure out what they do. What is it exactly that you are doing? So oftentimes, we say things like, oh, I'm working in housing, or I'm working in mental health. Well, what is it you do? If we can identify very clearly what it is that you do, then we can identify how to break that down in ways that are measurable, in ways that really show us the kinds of differences you're making. If you are a large international organization and you are providing the service, you want to have some kind of sustainability. So you're working with local governments to sort of be able to give them this as a package. You can continue this within your health service, after this event. Well, how do you do that? How do you tell the government how many staff you need? What kind of training does that staff need? All of those kinds of things. When we talk about those kinds of things, we use words like monitoring and evaluation. That we're monitoring the program to figure out how it works, then we're evaluating to make sure that it works. So, but by trade, I'm a monitoring and evaluation person. That's the majority of my services. But in doing that, what I've learned is individual processes. So me and you working together, that can be effective, but it's more effective maybe if there's an entire community that's vested in this process. Well, 10 years ago, I was, according to the words of my government, a refugee from Hurricane Katrina, and lived through that response as both I was pregnant and with a toddler at the time, where so I was in a very unique experience living through this disaster with friends in trailers, working with no schools. We lived in a very small house with 3 other families to sort of survive this crisis. We're displaced for months. And I can tell you, if you want to build community, have a disaster. Disasters have a wonderful way of bringing people together in a very real fashion, because nothing teaches you that your neighbor is the person who is the most important person in your life. Nothing inspires that more than a situation where no one else comes. And the person beside you is the only one who's going to help you in that situation. When you live through something like that, absolutely, community forms overnight. And there's bonds in that, and there's opportunities for transformation in that. We can move forward better in terms of making sure that resources are better distributed, in terms of doing a better job of identifying who's going to struggle when bad times come. I mean, those are the kinds of things that we need to do, is think about the prep and think about the response, and try to ensure that those steps happen in ways that are equitable, in ways that recognize vulnerability, and that ways that sort of build opportunities for resilience within populations.